Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking all about why the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 10 are only 4 years apart from each other, but there's so many changes in that period of time, because you see people online saying, yeah, there's nothing changed, same old iPhone, just because the fronts didn't change in the 4 years, whatever it was, up until iPhone 10, there's obviously nothing different, right? Well, today we're going to be breaking down all the differences that had happened in the 4 years. Let's get into it. Obviously there is a big jump with iPhone 10 because it's the 10th anniversary edition, technically, even though there wasn't 10 iPhones in between. There's around 12 or 13, but still, you get the iPhone 10, which is its all bezel-less display, notch, no forehead, no chin, if you count the notches, no forehead. You get your gestures, you get the better dual lens camera system, and comparing that to the iPhone 6, which still has your 16:9 aspect ratio instead of your 21:1 aspect ratio on the iPhone 10. Instead of your gestures, you still have your home button with Touch ID, Generation 2, instead of your Face ID with iPhone 10. And the notch, you still have bezels, still white bezels, which, to be honest, I kind of prefer. Same as on my iPad Pro 10.5 inch, I have white bezels with a silver model, and I kind of really enjoy it. Although, let's be honest, white iPhone 10, silver iPhone 10 with white bezels, don't really think that would work out because of all the sensors. Let's talk about build quality, because this is a big difference that happened in between this generation of iPhone and the 6, and even in between. You had the 6, the 6S, the 7. There's 3 generations of iPhone there, not to mention the Plus models, and they were made out of aluminum. And while they were variations of the same design, you had with iPhone 6 and 6S, you had the antenna lines on the back, and you had 6000 series aluminum on the 6, whereas it went up to 7000 series aluminum on the 7 and 6S and 8 and so on till nowadays. The iPhone 10 has stainless steel sides, and it has a glass back and front. The iPhone 8 and 8 Plus had glass back and front, but it had the same aluminum 7000 series on the sides, which in my experience does not hold up as well as stainless steel. I had an iPhone 6S Plus at one stage. It took a nasty fall, and yeah, there was a few scuff marks that you could see, a few dents here and there. And on my 7 Plus that I had, the but it looked like glass, it was the jet black model, you could see every single scratch on that thing. And on my 6, it bent on me. I don't know, I sent it into Apple and they wanted to charge me €300 to get fixed, when realistically I only spent $250 on the iPhone 6 at the time. It was still a generation behind, but at the same time, you didn't want to spend more than the phone was worth. So I upgraded to the 6S Plus. But on the 8 Plus that I had, it took a nasty fall. I tripped and fell one day in school, and along the bottom right, next to the speaker grill, it was a space grey model. You could see the underneath the anodization, you could see all the silver underneath, raw aluminum, really nasty. You could feel the dents. It wasn't pretty, but still. And I'm happy to say, iPhone 10 actually has really good durability. I'm not proud to say this, but I've dropped it several times in the last few weeks. On tile, carpet, and on wood. I haven't dropped it on concrete yet, but I think it would survive. Obviously, put a case on your phone, which is what I had, but I just had a clear case on it because I like looking at the back of the phone. Yeah, any other iPhone would have dented. On this, you cannot see any scratches. Although, I will say, they seem to have gone for better drop resistance in the newer models of iPhone, whereas, which means the scratches are way more visible on the iPhone 10, 8 as well. So yeah, scratches are way more prominent on this screen than on the 6S. The cameras are a big difference as well. On the 6, we had a single lens camera. If you got 6S, on the 6 Plus, sorry, you got OIS for the first time, optic image stabilization. On the 6S Plus, they improved upon that. They added live photos for the 3D touch functionality. And then on the 7 and Plus, you got a bigger camera lens, and on the 7 you got a bigger camera lens. On the 7 Plus, for the first time, you got portrait mode and an extra dual camera lens, which gave you a 2x optical zoom, which we still have up until this day. Portrait mode was introduced on the iPhone 7 Plus, and it continued on with the iPhone 8 Plus, getting extra features such as getting, stage light mono and stage lights and contour lighting and studio lighting. And on the iPhone 10, they got the improvement of having the dual lens system, both optic image stabilized, which means you get your rock steady shots even in the secondary lens, which is a 2x optical lens, but you can clearly see the difference between an iPhone 8 photo and an iPhone 10 photo. It's just way better, to be honest. Now obviously, because portrait mode is so good and we have processors that are really good, you get portrait mode on single lens iPhones that are new out. Started with the iPhone XR, and now we have it on the iPhone SE. But that's not what this video is about. We're just focusing on this one and the iPhone 6 and what the differences are. Another big difference actually, which only lasted for 2 generations that we're talking about at the moment, between the 6 and the 6S series, they were the last ones to have headphone jacks. On the iPhone 10 we do not have a headphone jack. iPhone 7 series and iPhone 8 series we did not have a headphone jack. RIP headphone jack 2050. Because that is when the iPhone 6 was announced, and it was the most popular selling iPhone ever. And believe me when I say it, I loved my iPhone 6, the form factor, everything about it. When you use the iPhone 6, the iPhone 10 is very similar to an iPhone 6 in size, and I love that about this thing, You could upgrade to a max model of a phone or a plus model, but honestly, the smaller size, in my opinion, is better. I upgrade to the 7 Plus and 8 Plus just because of the extra camera features. I really enjoyed the 4K camera on this thing, which is another big difference about the 6 and the 10. In between, obviously. The 6 had 720p at 30 FPS and 720p at 60 FPS. This and the 6S got 4K 30 capabilities with the 1080p 60 and 720p 30. And then it continued up with the iPhone 7. They improved 4K 30, added better slow-mo options up to 120 FPS. But on iPhone 10 and iPhone 8 Plus, they introduced 4K 60 for the first time ever on a smartphone. They did 240 FPS slow-mo recording in 1080p, and they increased megapixel size on the front camera up to 8 megapixels from 7 megapixels. It was 5 megapixels on the first iPhone 6 series, obviously, which it's it's grand, but I honestly prefer 7 megapixels on the front for the FaceTime HD camera. No 4K on the iPhone 10, but if you get one of the newer models, you have 4K 60 on the front facing camera as well. And you have the 12 megapixels, dual 12 megapixel dual lens camera system. The processor was the A8 processor on the 6 series, A9 series on the 6S series, A10 Fusion on the iPhone 7, A11 Bionic on the 8 and 10 series, which is a significant upgrade, and the A8 processor, just for a little trivia, is still used in the HomePod and the Apple TV. So it's probably on its last legs for updates, but it still functions okay. Will it get iOS 14? Let's be realistic, probably not. But we can only hope for the best. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next one.